This might take us a while, yeah. I left all the doors unlocked and you said you're on your way. When you get here, don't you say a word, got no time to play.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Jasmine, and today we are going to be doing a fun video, and that is a 90s inspired makeup look. So I mainly have been doing more like 2000s vibey makeup, but I'm inspired by a video, or it was a YouTube shorts I saw, and so now I want to do a 90s theme makeup. So we're gonna try it, and we're also gonna talk about my favorite topic, well, random stuff. We're gonna just have a chit chat. So first and foremost, there's like a lot of things I could talk about, but one of the, I dropped my top to my thing. Well, first we gotta take off our glasses. This is my bare face. I also feel like it's still like light outside, but the sun is going down, so the lighting might fluctuate a little bit in this video, and I apologize in advance if that happens. All right, we're gonna put some lip balm on to get started. You can't have ashy lips. I don't know why that was so funny to me. And I hate having dry or chapped lips in general. And the main thing that helps with that also is water. So let's go grab our water real quick. All right, we acquired our water. All right, so I'm trying to gather the makeup I need for this. This is the eyeshadow palette I think I'm gonna use. It's the Morphe Madison Beer, and we really want to create like a smokier, warm shadow look is what we're gonna go for. Y'all, I accidentally stopped recording instead of pausing, so we messed up. Anyways, let's get into it. Yeah, this is most of my everyday makeup I'm going to be pulling from. First, let's start with our primer, something that I often forget. For today, I'm gonna try this Makeup Forever Pore Minimizing Primer. Ooh. And I've been pretty good at doing my skincare. I don't know if I'm gonna make this like a super edited video or just leave it unedited like normal. I feel like, I don't know, I was planning on editing this, but I also don't know if I want to keep my format of videos the same. Anyways, the first topic in question is, I feel like in general people need to stop taking dating advice from people who are miserable. And what I mean by that is, there's a lot of men, sorry, I misspoke. There's a lot of men who seem to get all of their dating advice from these red pill community men. And I think I mentioned this before. There's a lot of times where I will watch like those videos, not because I agree with them, but I just want to understand the mentality of some of these people. Like, why do people think like this? Because it's very like, it's a very toxic, but also it's just like, these men I feel like are honestly very, very miserable, and they just have like, again, like just this hatred for women. And then I finally watched like a man, like an actual man who's married and happy, try to give advice to those men, and they're in the comments complaining about women and saying, ugh, this advice doesn't work because the women are just horrible and blah blah blah. And I feel like what I'm just realizing, red pill men are miserable and love to complain and whine about things. You know, they blame all of their problems essentially on women, take no responsibility. And I think, like, I honestly think the biggest reason those men are unattractive is their mindset. They have a very, this mindset of all women do this and all women do that, and they're focused on the wrong types of women and then mad about the wrong types of women. Like, what you focus on is what you're gonna find. If you claim that you don't like all of these women, a certain type of woman, and then you're constantly making videos about the types of women you don't like, that's your obsession. You're finding those types of women because that's what you're seeking, and that's what you're subsequently surrounding yourself with. In a lot of ways, to me, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you're literally saying how much you dislike a certain type of woman, but then that's all you're seeming to talk about, you know? That, to me, I feel like is like, it's not making sense to me. So let me specify. I guess like red pill community videos or red pill men they literally seek out like women who are, I guess, very promiscuous, and, you know, they just seek, you know, problematic women who have, I don't know, they really just want women that they don't like and then talk badly about them. And it's like, why do you seek out women that you don't like to begin with and then bash them on the internet? I don't know. There's like a lot of things I could say about them or say about it, but ultimately when it comes down to me is like, it really just seems like y'all hate women. Y'all can't name one woman that y'all actually like. And I feel like majority of their content is centered around hating and bashing women. It's like, how is that helping? How is finding women you don't like gonna help you find women? That does not make sense to me. So anyways, that's one of the major things. I also feel like the advice red pill men give is very shallow and bad advice that will not get you a woman that actually respects herself. You know, they talk about very superficial things, in my opinion, that no woman that actually respects herself would care about. I don't know. And also, let me see if I can think back. If I can remember the video I watched, I'll link it down below. But one of the channels that I watched videos from for a while, it's called Night Talk, and it's this man, I think he's in his 40s, maybe late 30s, I don't know. He seems older. He might be younger, I don't know, but he gives like 30, 40s. Definitely not in the 20s. His channel is called Night Talk, and he pretty much just finds a bunch of videos of promiscuous women and then bashes them, or it's just like random clips of women being berated or abused or whatever, talks crap about them for his audience, his woman hating audience, and then says, oh, this is why we don't simp over women like this, and real men don't do this. And it's just like a very toxic masculinity type of community, because your entire page is seems as if it's devoted to bashing women that you don't like to begin with. Like I said, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me, but I digress. But one thing I realized is you cannot take advice from people who are miserable. That was the main point I was getting at. Taking advice from men who are not happy, fulfilled relationships, or are not the type of men you would want to date is a waste of your time. If you're going to take dating advice from someone, it should be someone that you actually respect, someone that is in a happy, successful, I would say marriage, because someone who's just in a relationship, I feel like obviously every marriage is different, but you want to at least get advice from someone who's at the level of relationship you want. Now, if you're just looking for any type of relationship, okay, that's whatever, but if your goal is to be married, you should be getting relationship advice from married people, married women, married men. Now, I've said before, I personally watch channels like this just to like learn and understand, not because understand the mentality of people like that, not because I'm like, oh, this is the type of people I want to take advice from. And honestly, I feel like if you think like some of these men, you would live a very miserable life. Like one of the comments on the video I watched, well, it was actually of a man who was married, basically telling men that they need to stop just complaining all the time. And then the comments were all these men complaining about women and saying how, oh, these women don't exist and I just got used and abused and yada yada yada. But the actual problem is these men are superficial. They care mostly about looks. They're not looking at women based off of their character or anything substantial. So they're chasing after superficial women. They want, you know, a supermodel. They want a woman that has a certain look, a certain aesthetic. And those women want men who have money, who have status, and they know they don't meet those things. So that's why they're upset. They're upset because they desire something that is out of their league. I don't know. And then essentially just complaining that, ugh, I can never find a woman, because they're superficial. They're looking for superficial things in a woman to begin with. They just care about the looks. And I always say this, superficialness begets superficialness. And you can say the same thing about women. I would say too, there's some very superficial women. All they care about is how much money a man makes. And it's like, in order to live a life, like if you are going to be superficial, you have to meet the superficial needs of the other person that you're trying to attract. So I always say this, looks for men equals money for women. They are equally superficial because women, as I mentioned before, don't necessarily value physical appearance the way men do. Now, don't get me wrong, there are women who are they want a man that looks really, really good. You know, women who fawn over these celebrities and models, what have you, and are superficial when it comes to looks as well. But there's a lot of really beautiful women that will date a man if they have a lot of money, despite how they look. So I honestly think, like, you can be an ugly man and date a pretty, really attractive woman, because there's really attractive women who just want men that have a lot of money. Superficial. These superficial relationships, well, that's what you're gonna find. Basically, if you're fighting for if your basis and what you're looking for is superficial, you have to meet the superficial means that the other person's looking for. Like, you just want someone that looks good, and someone that looks really good knows they can probably get a man that has a lot of money. They're not going to settle for an average person and you're broke. Just saying. And I'm not saying this to be mean, it's really just the reality of the superficial dating advice that a lot of these channels give. And for someone like me, like I said, I'm not taking that advice. I wouldn't follow any advice that any of those types of channels have to give, because I don't want a superficial relationship like that at the end of the day. And I don't know. I think what these men are mostly upset about is the type of woman they claim to hate are the type of woman they actually want, and they know they can't get them because they don't meet the superficial desires of their superficial woman that they want. Because women who value their appearance, women whose main, you know, I think, and it's not every, just because I feel like this is also important. just because someone is attractive doesn't mean they're superficial. Like, you can be a woman that's attractive and not be superficial, but there's also a lot of women whose main, like, their main the thing that is most important to them is their appearance, you know, like vain. They're very vain. Like, that's what they care about the most. And I feel like a woman that is very beautiful and very vain is going to use that to her advantage when it comes to dating. Like, there's a whole market of just women who are just like, oh, if you're become super attractive, get you a rich man, and yada yada yada. Like, that's kind of like a mindset of some of these people. All right, so I'm gonna start the eyeshadow look attempting the smoky warm. I'm gonna start with this color in this palette. One thing about this, the names of the eyeshadow are on the like the sheet that goes over it, so I'm not going to be able to tell you what shade. I'm just going to point to it if you have this palette or want to see the colors I'm using. So anyways, I just feel like it's a very superficial dating advice you're going to get from a lot of these men. There's not a lot of substance. They're going to tell you, oh, a woman has to be super attractive and have all of these qualities in order to qualify as someone they want to date. But then at the same time, they also will have to say, oh, well, you got to have money if you want to date one of these women. And then these men will be mad because most men don't have a lot of money. Everyone's not rich. And it's just like, I don't know. And those men who don't have a lot of money get mad that the type of woman that they want would not be interested in them on the basis of their financial qualifications. All right, we're gonna go in with this color next. So I'm just gonna really try my best to make this eyeshadow look. Maybe I should find a picture, of the type of makeup look I'm going for. That would make it easier. I know it's just like 90s. I'm gonna look up a picture and then I'll edit it into it so you guys know what I'm going for. Okay, something like this is what we're going for. I'll insert the picture too. So it's like smokier, but it's also warm tone. I'm gonna have to find lashes. All right, anyways, I think that's all I'm gonna talk about that. There's more I could say, but my mind's blanking on the other parts of it. But really, just they give very superficial dating that I feel like is only gonna work if you're superficial. So if you're not superficial or you want a substantial, meaningful relationship, maybe don't follow that advice. All right, moving on, let's talk about this topic. And this one I feel like I'm gonna say as respectfully as I can. So the woman who, you know, broke the world record of sleeping with the most men. I feel like it's very just sad to me that this is the type of stuff that makes the news, and that, you know, doing this gets attention. Because honestly, I feel like that's what this woman wants the most, probably, is attention. And that's what she gained from the whole thing. All right, I'm gonna take this darker brown right here and try to do a smoke. Sorry, y'all. I'm like partially talking, partially doing makeup. It's really hard at times, but we're gonna try to do multitask. So this woman made headlines for saying she slept with 1,000 men in 12 hours. Personally, I just think it's very sad that a woman is doing that. And this is why I feel like people are gonna have their own thoughts about it. Like I said, I'm not negating how other people feel. If you think a woman sleeping with 1,000 men is empowering, I have to really ask you, is she empowered? Like, yes, women can do what they want with their bodies. She was able to sleep with 1,000 men. What did she gain from that other than, I think, like I said, it's for attention mainly, but I feel like it's the sad thing to me about it is how little respect for herself and her body that she has, that her, in her mind, sleeping with 1,000 men is something like a goal, something to be proud of. Personally, I would say that. And this is not me trying to shame her in any way, which, like I said, I don't need to shame somebody. I don't think that's a good decision. That's not a choice I would make or encourage any woman to make, but I don't have to shame her for what she did. I honestly feel sorry for her, and wonder like what happened. And honestly, it doesn't always have to be something bad happen for, I guess, women to be in that situation. Like, women willingly go into the sex industry. So, but I honestly feel like in general, this is the issue of like sex workers and OF and all of that is equally the result of men and women, because we can sit here and judge and condemn this woman for sleeping with 1,000 men, but at the end of the day, there were 1,000 men who were also still willing to sleep with her. So I feel like you can't just blame, oh well, this woman is, you know, this horrible person. I'm like, what about the 1,000 men who were also willingly participants in the entire thing? Personally, I would say they're equally responsible, right? Because no one's forcing those men to sleep with her either. I feel like as long as there's men that are willing to participate in things like this, it's just gonna keep going on. You know, you can say this woman is disgusting and whatever and shame her for the decision, but in my opinion, shame the men too that are also willingly participants in this. If you're gonna shame one, shame the other ones, because I don't think you have a lot of self-respect as a man either to want to participate in that. I don't know. Am I the only one that feels like that? Or I feel like that's a valid take on stuff like that. All right, let me look. I know I'm gonna have to do lashes, y'all, and y'all know I have a love-hate relationship with lashes. I honestly feel like what makes it 90s makeup is really the lip combo. You know, the dark lip liner and everything else. But I'm doing my best, y'all. I'm doing my best. I feel like 90s makeup is very like smoky, sultry. I think I kind of want to put a little bit of a shimmer on top, and I just don't know what color shimmer I should use. So there's this one, and then there's this one. I don't want to mess it up though, because I kind of like what we have right now. Or maybe even this one, make it warm. I think I'm going to try this one. Hopefully this doesn't mess it up, and if it does, oh well. Alright, we added a shimmer to it because it's hard for me to not use a shimmer in my makeup. Alright, now we gotta do a black eyeliner under our eye. Anyways, I feel bad for the girl, not because I think like she thinks she's a victim or anything, but I'm just like, in my opinion, she can't respect herself that much to do something like that. I don't think she values herself, except for maybe as a sex object. I don't know. I personally, like I said, I can't understand why a woman would be willing to sleep with 1,000 men. What does that do for her, honestly, at the end of the day? To me, it's like it's about the attention or just wanting, I don't know. I honestly can't understand it, but the amount of things she's exposing herself to, I feel like is crazy. I don't know if winged liner was the direction we should have gone, but we're stuck now. I don't think they did a lot of winged liner in the 90s, so I might clean that side up. I think this looks more 90s than the wing does, so oopsies. We're gonna, do I have a makeup wipe? One sec, guys. Okay, guys, I kind of fixed it, and I can't remember what I was saying, but I have a very unpopular opinion that a lot of people are not gonna like, but I also feel like it's very much true. And that opinion is that women make worse decisions about their partners because of access to abortion. And that's a hill I will literally, well, I'm not gonna die on it, but I believe it's true, and I'm gonna tell you why. So remember how back when they were overturning Roe versus Wade, and basically they said it's gonna go back to the states to decide, and the women were all, or some women I should say, were protesting, and basically the first thing that they said is, if you guys ban abortion, we're just not gonna sleep with men. And they were basically threatening, their threat was that they weren't gonna sleep with men anymore. And to me, that was very telling, because it's like, are y'all making, is the reason y'all are willing to sleep with some men because you know you have the option to get an abortion if you get pregnant? Like, is that the only reason y'all are willing to risk sleeping with, like, to me, just men who don't respect you at the end of the day, because you had access to abortion and you knew you had it as a backup plan? But the minute, you know, it's threatened, suddenly, oh, well, now I have to make better choices about who I sleep with because I don't want to risk getting pregnant by the wrong man. So to me, that was very telling. But I honestly think that's exactly what abortion does, is I feel like it makes women make less safe choices. It honestly, in my opinion, encourages promiscuity because it takes away a responsibility, right, or a risk, or gives women the illusion of more options to take a risk and sleep with men. And personally, I feel like that is one of the biggest, one of the worst things about abortion, is that women literally are sleeping with men who don't respect with them. I feel like that's one of the reasons more women are willing to go into like sex work and things like that, because they have the abortion as like an out if they get pregnant. And when people bring that up and people say like, oh, it's not used for birth control, but that's exactly how people use it. It's like, oh, I have this extra thing in case I get pregnant, so therefore, you know, I can make worse decisions with who people sleep with. Like, does anyone else not see that connection? Like that, like I said, that is something I'm just willing. I feel like if women didn't have abortions, I think teen pregnancy would probably decrease, because women wouldn't have that, they wouldn't sleep around as much or risk sleeping around with certain types of men. I feel like one night stands would probably go away as well. And like I said, that's just how I feel, and I feel like it's backed up by the fact that there were people during that whole thing that basically said they were not going to sleep around anymore if abortion got taken away. And it's almost funny to me too that was the threat women were making. If you guys take away our abortion, we're not going to sleep with you anymore. It's like, what? Like, let's break that down a little bit, because it's kind of crazy to me that was even something that was said in defense of abortion, you know? Does abortion benefit women or men more? I feel like is also another question I would pose, because I feel like women who get abortions have a lot of trauma after getting an abortion. I don't think that's an easy decision for a woman to make. And I also think too, it's not a decision that comes without consequences. And I feel like that never really gets emphasized. But I read so many stories of women who regret their abortions. And I personally know women who've gotten them. Now, if y'all are new to my channel, I am not pro-abortion. So if that's going to be something that makes people unfollow me, so be it. Like I said, I don't hate women who get abortions. I don't actively think like or wish ill will on people. But to me, personally, my morals tell me abortion is wrong. And I'm not going to support something that I feel is morally wrong. Now, you can have your own opinions. I don't hate people for being pro-choice. I'm not saying I hate women who get abortions either. I'm just saying personally, I don't think abortion is a good is good for women. Is definitely not good for the children. And I also think men benefit but also are hurt from it at the same time. You know, men who don't want responsibility for children, they benefit off of abortions. Men who cheat on their wives and get their mistress pregnant, they benefit from abortions. Overall, I feel like people doing shady things are the ones who typically benefit from abortion. You know, people who work in the sex industry maybe benefit from abortion. But not in like an actual benefit, more like it allows them to continue doing like those things. So anyways, I could make a whole nother video about it, but I think it's just interesting to me that basically some women admitted that abortion is the reason that they were willing to sleep around, essentially. Like, promiscuity is literally, women are more promiscuous, are willing to sleep around more because they have abortion. I find that to be very, well, I think that's problematic, but it also just indicates that there is kind of this idea that I feel like a lot of, like I said, abortion is mostly used as a form of birth control. It's not because of women having dangerous pregnancies. And I've said this in a lot of, well, I've said this before, this idea that, you know, people are getting abortions to save their lives is really not true. Most women getting abortions are not having I forget the actual term, but they're not high-risk pregnancies. That's what it was. Most of the women getting abortions are not because they have high-risk pregnancies. It's not because of actually, maybe I should have said grape. I forget that YouTube censors stuff, but it mostly is because women get pregnant who were willingly having sex and they don't want the responsibility of that child, aka a form of birth control. But like I said, it comes with a lot of repercussions, and I've shared this in another video why, like, one of the other reasons I feel like I can't support abortion is understanding like the spiritual side to it, which is something I learned. It's like a long story. If this lash is not cooperating, y'all. But at the end of the day, I don't hate women who get abortions. I pray for them. I pray for healing for them. I mean, if they regret them, I pray for healing. I mean, even if they don't regret it, I pray for those women, because I feel like that's a very hard choice to live with. Like, even if you don't think it's murder, because that's like the whole argument, right? That's a hard, like, I don't want to get into it because I feel like it's not gonna be good, but I just feel like I pray for those women. Pray for women who get abortions, whether they regret it or not, because like I said, that is a choice that really just comes with a whole lot of other consequences that some women don't know. But you know, there's studies that show that the long-term trauma that some of these women have, and also even just the stories from the women that I know who got them, they said it was a horrible experience and they wouldn't wish it on anyone. So I don't know, I might have done too much blush. It's not looking very 90s. They said that I needed to do like a super a lot of contour, which I did. Okay, let's do our bake and maybe that will fix it. All right, I feel like that's all I'm gonna say about that. What else? There was another topic. Oh, Pop the Balloon. Pop the Balloon is one of the most degrading shows you can go on as a woman, and I don't understand people why people keep going, or why women put themselves in that situation. I feel like Pop the Balloon is really the epitome of everything wrong with dating in this generation, because it's literally so demeaning. You're putting yourself basically in front of a bunch of men to be like humiliated, essentially. Why would you do that? I don't understand why anyone would do that. All right, guys, I don't know if I explained this, but I'm trying to thin out my eyebrows as well. Or I thinned out my eyebrows with how I concealed them. Okay, the powder is kind of helping minimize how I overdid the blush a little bit, and also helping the contoured look. But is this really 90s makeup? I feel like the lip will make it like 90s. I think the eyebrows and the lips alone will bring in the 90s effect that I want to have. And we're just powdering to fix all of the mess ups I have. This is also just a lot of makeup. I don't know if this is not the amount of makeup I would want to wear on a daily basis. This is like 90s glam red carpet makeup. Certainly not every day. Could I wear makeup like this? Oh, Lord. The lashes are getting on my nerves, but let's try to sometimes using my eyelash curler helps them blend a little bit better. Okay, so I feel like this I think I messed it up with the lashes. I think the lashes need to be a little bit less and then it would look better, but I'm not redoing that. Y'all saw the struggle I already went through to get that on. We're done. Okay, now for the best part. Okay, so this I think I've showed in other videos. This lip liner is what I really use when I want a really dark lip liner, and the secret is it's eyeliner. So I use a dark brown eyeliner in order to get a dark, and then I kind of blend it all over my lips because I want it to look like I kind of have this darker lip naturally. And then we're gonna go in with a nudish lip color, and I'm going to use, I saw it earlier, I don't know if I took it out. I'm gonna try this NARS. I actually got this in my birthday gift from Ulta last year. Ooh, these lashes are bothering me, and they don't even look even. Like, why do they look different? This is the reality of me doing my makeup. Like, I feel like half of the time it just is a hot mess. And this is why I don't wear makeup every day. Okay, I'm struggling. All right, this is NARS in Dolce Vita. It's a really nice nude. So you're gonna focus this on the center of my lips. All right, and then for our gloss on top of this, what are we thinking? What am I thinking? I want something glossy but not over. Also, I don't think any highlighter is used. We're gonna use this gloss. It's like a light pink but mostly clear. Alright guys, I think we're done. The only thing I really don't like is the fact that my lashes are annoying and kind of too much. I don't know if I would really consider this though 90s. I feel like it started off more 90s and then I feel like it like lost. I'm just putting a little bit more smoke under the eye. Alright guys, I tried. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. Is this a good 90s makeup or is it kind of trash? Because I don't know. Alright guys, that's all I have to say. I said a lot, but also I could have said more. Alright, see y'all in my next video.